I can vividly remember the day my grandfather, for the first time, heard Nirvana. I got a new complaint. I can remember that day vividly. Not only a look of disgust and confusion, but a look of sheer depression. The moment he heard it, he didn't say anything. My grandfather was very, very short on words. And then I can remember the day my father, for the first time, caught me listening to 9 Inch Nails. I want to feel you from the inside. Neither of them were very happy to hear that I was listening to either of those. So you could only imagine the look on my grandmother's face the day she heard me listening to Marilyn Manson. Yeah. It was the combination of both my grandfather and father into the face of my grandmother when she heard me listen to that. And I can promise you there were a lot of thoughts going through her head the day she heard that. I want you to mark this day on your calendar, because in case you hadn't already turned into your grandparents, or maybe that slash Clint Eastwood, get the fuck off my lawn type, today, today, folks, will be that day.
Frankly, I love his voice. I love his accent. I love his vibe. I mean, I'm probably not going to like what he has to say, but he's definitely got an energy about him.
You know, I started this channel for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's just a vent. I got something I want to whine about at the moment, and I hit record, let it out. Another one of the many reasons was maybe trying to shine a light onto things that maybe you probably aren't aware of, problems, issues of today that I don't hear many people talking about. And this is in turn my way of putting it out into the world of, hey folks, we got a problem. We got a problem, folks. A lot of it comes down to the kids, the children. And I remember growing up seeing a lot of the hubbub of the parental advisory stickers. These people are fucking on a witch hunt, crazy, and they're religious Christian zealots, crying because the world's changing around them, blah, blah, blah. You remember all the reasons of why those people were really pariahs of their time. I could understand some of the arguments against it, for it. Like, I'm generally pretty good at playing both sides here. I don't know if I have a reason for why this would be any good. I'm going to give you a couple examples here in a minute. I just found it fitting to remember the days of Dee Snider in front of Congress, talking about free expression, First Amendment, we have a right to create art, and of course it's interpreted in many different ways, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of today's artists, and I'd imagine you haven't heard of most of them, but like 9 Inch Nails and my father, or Marilyn Manson and my grandmother, there's a first time for everything. And let me introduce you to Tu Hollis. Tu Hollis. This is, of all the songs I'm about to show you, this is probably the least worse. The least worse. So, here's Tu Hollis. Yeah. I'll tell you, that's the whole song. That's the whole song. I'm gonna try and keep these clips short so I can, in hopes of avoiding copyright here, because, you know, it gets real tricky with music. That's the least worst of all of them, but you'll definitely get the good vibe that there are heavy distortions, heavy auto-tune, almost so heavy that you start to not even understand what the fuck they're saying. And that if it weren't for auto-tune, oh, you could only imagine how bad it would be then. Next up, Xavier So Based. I'm trying to tell you, that first one was the best of all of them. So if you can only imagine how that goes from here. Allow me to introduce Xavier So Based.
I just blocked the bitch because she's 16. And I don't fuck bitches.
Oh, it's bad. I wasn't over exaggerating. I hate to sound like my grandfather. I know I'm officially becoming old once you really start to lose touch as to what the children are into, which I'd argue is a main reason why I always try to just keep a finger, as much of it as I can, on the pulse of what children are doing. Because if you're not aware that they are your future, they're all of ours future, you got hoodwinked if you forgot that. Because when you lose the children, you lose it all. I mean, everything. It all, for all the bad that the kids of the 80s, 90s, maybe even early 2000s, you can imagine, with the Limp Biscuits, with the corn, with all that shit. This is that on steroids. And it's not only that it's just bad, but it's talentless garbage. Heavy auto tune with a beat that is so distorted that you'd almost imagine like putting these two together would be like bananas and rice, some might say, but not like bananas and rice, but more like, like bananas and rice, kind of like that. I only got two more. This is Osama-san. Osama-san. For your listening experience, folks. Osama-san. Wow, that's bad. That is. I have never felt older in my life than listening to this and trying to understand, like, what is going on here? What is going on here? I'm sure some of y'all got kids. And if you're probably a subscriber to my channel, I'd imagine you're more involved in your children's lives than most. I would imagine. They're probably more down to earth than the average, which the average being is this. Because this is TikTok brain rot in human form, is what this is. And I don't understand how you fix it. I also don't understand how you begin to combat it without coming across as the people in the 80s, 90s, fighting for the parental advisory stickers, fighting to keep us out of the hands of children, fighting to almost make this not exist. Because that's my confliction, is the more I've grown, the more I realize I'm never a First Amendment absolutist. I'm just not, because that's just not a thing. And there should definitely be things that we as a society can deem beyond the pale, beyond like any sense of reason of why this is allowed. Because all these kids rap about is killing, fucking, and drugs. Killing, fucking, and drugs. I'm talking about 15, 11, 12. You wonder how you end up getting some of the kids you get. I was making another video a couple days ago, got sidetracked onto this actually, and it's about children who are doing some of just the most god-awful acts you can imagine, even with parent involvement. Even with parents who, if you let them tell it, they're their best friends, and they love them, and they're involved in their lives, and they know what they're doing, and they wouldn't do these types of things. Because there's parents who, with their children, will listen to this. How us as a free world and a country and as a society are supposed to like prosper, how things are supposed to get better, upgraded. Like you won't with this type of attitude, with this type of personality, with these types of people. It's impossible. So after it's Osama-san, we got net spend. Oh, this is a good one. It's a real good one. I'll give you just a couple seconds. She used to call me on my cell phone to get some dick. I'm Pisces, she a Cancer. I love shit. She is a catfish. Whew. It's hard to digest, ain't it? I get it. I fucking get it. The first one I was turned on was actually him. And that got me just down this whole rabbit hole of just terrible fucking music. Every song talking about the same shit. Sucking dick, fucking bitches, doing drugs. I'm high off my motherfucking shit. Took too many Xans, took too many pills, shot niggas. I struggle with these questions, and I'd love an answer. I'd love like your actual thoughts on how it is you think a beneficial society to all of us, to us as countrymen, to us as neighbors, can like thrive while this is like blistering under like the surface of everything. And I'll tell you, half the country has no idea about any of this. Like, no fucking clue at all about like what kids are watching, listening. Like, half the parents don't. Half of those parents do, and they don't give a fuck. Completely like don't see the issue with any of it. And I know, believe it, I know I come across as like real Clint Eastwood, real get the fuck off my lawn type. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not okay with that. If I wasn't, you wouldn't be seeing it right now. I promise you. Absolutely okay with playing that role. I just don't know like how we fix anything anymore because it's so far out of the realm of like, I'm picturing Dee Snider, Twisted Sister, like in Congress, like arguing like against all this stuff. For as bad as Dee Snider was, and it was bad for its time, no doubt about it. Twisted Sister was absolutely everything counter culture to what was okay. I don't ever want to like come across like I don't get it. Like I get I get every side of these arguments here, which is really what a lot of my like inner struggle comes from. Trying to balance, I could see someone arguing for this while seeing the actual real-time effects that it has on children. Children. I'm not talking about adults here, folks. I'm talking about actual like 10-year-olds that are listening to this shit that sounds fucking just like it sounds like if Adderall made a song for TikTok. Let me give you just a second. Osama Sun and Netspend made a song together. Duo. Tag team. You ready for this one? You ready for just a piece of this?
Overseas ball, your dream hoe drop her jaws. Yeah, with jobs. Son, go through with jobs. He gon' go through it all. Ain't mama crying cause you ain't one. Do it off a lot. I'm just kidding, I just took a lot of drugs.
You tell me. I mean, dude, that's why I make half these videos. I want to know, how do you think you fix this? You just ban it? Which ultimately just does like the whole Streisand effect thing. And ultimately, like, I think this is too far mainstream at this point. To think that like there's no safeguards at all from another 13-year-old going in here making these videos or these songs or this music. There are no safeguards. Safeguards. You imagine, is there a law against this? And if there was, how would you like follow through with it? Like, that's it. That's like the ultimate dilemma here, is because like we've let it go so far. To pull the reins in now, I think is almost impossible, because that's not even the worst. I saved the worst for last. I saved the absolute god-awful worst thing you've ever heard in your life for last. This is too slimy. Too slimy. Too slimy. You ready? You ready? If you wasn't ready, I don't know if you ever will be for this one. This one's that bad. Oh my God. That is absolute TikTok AI brain rot. Everything in one little 5-second fucking montage. That's what your energy bills are getting higher for. So Too Slimy can make AI videos. Oh, it's worse than that. Go find that. It's Too Slimy Serena. Just an idea of what he was saying there, because I know you have no fucking clue what yo was screaming there. Up on the block, gonna give him a heart attack. Effing bullets gonna give 'em all cardiac. Run in your mouth gonna turn you to artifact. Run with the sack gonna turn you to running back. Oh, I don't know how you didn't hear that. Pop out with sticks, I feel like I'm Sirius Black. Fucking AR, don't need all them contracts. 360 a nigga, we turn 'em into frying pans. Asking these questions, I'm legally blind. Whipping up Hurricane Trina. Play with these balls just like Serena. You ready to see this kid one more time? Look at this kid. Look at that kid. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I do this just to like put it out into the world for the people who are unaware of what actually is and what isn't and what children are ingesting into their brains by the second. If you've got children, you should be very aware of what they're listening to. You absolutely should. Don't let them gaslight you into think that like you as the parent don't have like the responsibility to know what they're listening to and watching. You absolutely should. You should be all up in their shit. All up in it. And I'd like to hope you've got a decent enough relationship with your child to where that's an open avenue of conversation between you two. If it isn't and it's too far gone, that's a problem. That's a fucking problem. And I'm sorry you're in that position, because without that open conversation between you and your child, you're never going to know that your children are into this type of stuff. It's fucking drugs and killing. Fucking drugs and killing. And how I'm so high. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I wish I fucking did. Honest to God, I wish I had a solution to this other than like blow up every server on the planet that like keeps this stuff on file. Are we like the old head grandparents of the 80s and 90s in front of Congress? Toby, you need to do something about this. You need to do something about this twisted sister. They're rotting the brains of our youth. Shut up, Grandma. Shut up, Grandma. You don't know no better. If that's our choices, either like the too smart for his own good punk kid or the Clint Eastwood get the fuck off my lawn type, get the fuck off my lawn.